Back in 2020, Bluepoint's remake of From Software's original Souls game Demon's Souls was released alongside the PS5 as the launch title for the system. As a massive fan of the series who had never experienced the game that started it all, I was incredibly excited to experience this game for the first time. I was so excited, in fact, that I actually ended up playing the original game for the first time shortly after the remake was announced, several months before it and the PS5 came out. It's now been almost 5 years since this remake came out, and it recently has come to my attention that Bluepoint's remake of Demon's Souls is not as faithful as I thought it was. Now, I don't think that the remake is a bad game. It still has the same structure, level design, and enemy AI from the original game, and Bluepoint added some really nice quality of life features like the ability to respec. And from a technical and visual standpoint, I still think that it's one of the best looking video games I've ever seen. In a bubble, this remake is incredible, but when comparing it to the original PS3 game, it's just not the same experience. The issue is that artistically and tonally, Bluepoint did not understand the original intention behind design, lighting, or musical choices, and in some cases, they deliberately changed things because they thought that they knew better than Miyazaki and the rest of the original team of creatives who made the game, which, quite frankly, is an insult to them. To make things worse, the way that the PS5 remake was marketed and the fact that it's just called Demon's Souls without remake as a subtitle or something like that implies that Sony wants this version to be the end-all be-all version of this game, almost as if they're trying to bury the original game, which is something that I find incredibly disrespectful. Now, as I mentioned, I was only made aware of all this recently because of some videos I've seen about the subject, and I think the best video on this topic is by a YouTuber named Chopper. He has great content in general, and his video on this is excellent and unbiased because he played both versions of the game for the first time back to back. Go check out his video for more info on this subject. For this video, however, we are going to take a trip down memory lane as I'm going to react to my video from a few months after the remake came out titled Demon's Souls PS5, a perfect remake. And I'm going to see just how wrong I was, and we're going to talk about it. This is going to be pretty interesting, but without further ado, let's get into it. All right, here we go. Oh boy, let's get into this. This might be hard for me to watch. Oh boy. All right.
So, the Demon's Souls remake has been out for some time now, and
jeez, that mic quality, dude.
I thought that this would be a good time to make this video. Before we get into why I love this remake so much, I'd like to preface that when I say that...
Bro, why do I sound like I'm whispering? And why do, like, dude, I sound like higher pitch too. What the hell?
The perfect remake, I don't mean without flaw. In my opinion, no game is 100% perfect, so when I say that this is a perfect remake, I more so mean that this game is one of the best remakes I've ever played and is legendary, and if you're a fan of the original or a Souls fan in general, then you need to get this game. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. First,
so, bro, man, all that glazing, geez. Yeah, so I definitely don't think that you need to get this game if you are a fan of the original. I think it's like a decent, it's a good way to experience the game, like if you just have no way of playing the original, but honestly, like between this and the original, just play the original. It's the intentional experience. It's a way more curated experience that has a completely different tone from this remake. But all right, let's keep going.
I want to get my couple of minor nitpicks out of the way.
Oh, I did have
the
nitpicks.
One is the digital deluxe edition.
Oh.
If you shelled out an extra $20, then you would get the soundtrack and some extra goodies when starting a character. Keep in mind, this game is $70 just for the base game, so that would be $90 total. This wouldn't matter at all if it wasn't for the fact that 4 of these goodies, being the Hoplite Shield, Ritual Blade, Red-Eye Knight Armor, and the Bulletarian Royalty Armor, cannot be obtained by people who did not get the digital deluxe edition. These 4 items were not in the original game, and the sword and shield can't be upgraded, so they're really only good in the early game at least, but it's still annoying that people who didn't pay more can never get these items. Who knows, maybe in the future Bluepoint
okay,
or sell these items for a couple of bucks. It's worth noting too that you shouldn't blame Bluepoint for this, as it was most likely Sony or a higher up at Bluepoint who made this decision.
Probably.
My next gripe is the remade intro. If you saw my video about why Demon's Souls is so special, then you'll know that the PS3 intro of Demon Souls is my favorite intro in the entire Souls series. Now, this remade intro itself is not bad at all. It recreates the scenes from the original very nicely, and I love how the part where the God Dragon shows up is now on a rainy night at the entrance of the Boletarian Palace. The problem for me is the remade version.
I disagree. I don't think the dragon being at a rainy palace. I mean, it's cool, but like it's just so different tonally from the original. It's interesting. You see here, even back then, even though I was glazing this remake so much, you see that like I did pick up on some things.
The song.
Let's see what I say though. Hold on.
The problem for me is the remade version of the song.
Okay. What is that? Oh, where's the... This editing is not great, but I mean, I'm agreeing with my point here though. And yeah, also, I don't know if I mentioned it in this old video. Dude, look at like the lighting is completely different. Completely different. Like look at this. If we go back for a second. Look at this. Like it has this like one, it looks very foggy, which is very appropriate for the game because you're like crossing the fog into Boletaria. But then like why does it look like so sunny and vibrant? Like it should be more muted. Like all of these color scheme is way more muted in the original version of this intro. And honestly, the original version of the intro, just, yeah, it's so much better. I love this. Oh no. Oh no. No. Hold on, let me... Like, do I just talk about the song here? Because, yeah, it is weird. It does not sound like the original song. It's missing all the chanting, too. And it's paced kind of weirdly. Yeah, like, they're trying to make it epic. That's not the point of the original intro at all. Oh my gosh, I love that. Dude, that's so cringe. No, I don't. Jeez, man. Me... Wait, what the... Oh my god! Oh my... Oh my god, dude. Okay. Wow. This,
As you can see...
Okay, that is kind of funny, but no, I do not think that this part where he's running at these guys, like, yeah, it's cool, but it's completely tonally different from this original intro, and I think this is way cooler and just adds to the atmosphere. Like, this guy's trying to survive. This guy, like, look at that. He's outnumbered, he's outmatched, he's straight up trying to survive. And then, like, in this new version, it's like an action sequence, and he's like this total badass, which, like, okay, cool, but that's not really... It's just, yeah, the lighting, dude. The lighting is so off. It's so blue. And everything's, like, way too vibrant. Like, bro. This is so much more atmospheric. It just, I mean... It's not that the other one's bad. It's like it's just that it's a complete mismatch from what the original game was trying to go for tonally. Let's see. Oh god, though. Let's
bums, as I like to.
Let's see what else I say. Okay, just turn that off. My god. I get the joke I was going for, but geez.
The bums, as I like to call them, are
Sorry, what?
As you can see,
God.
the bump bums, as I like to call them, are in different spots, and the tempo of the song is different, as well as the song is missing the brass and other parts of the chorus from the original version. This actually segues perfectly into my final nitpick or gripe with this remake, and that is that while the remade music is good, it's in this interesting spot where some of the songs sound way better than the original versions. Others don't have the same tone as the original, and others are almost completely unrecognizable. Take Flame Lurker's theme, for example.
Yeah, dude, also, like, look at the UI. The UI is so much cooler in the original game. Like, the new game's UI, somebody said it in another video, and I'm like, when they said it, I was like, oh my god, you're right. The UI in the new game looks like mobile game UI. So generic, so flat. Like, I never liked it. And it was for those reasons. Like, I always thought, like, the stone tablet vibe looked way cooler. But, like, I could never summarize it perfectly. And someone said, yeah, it looks like mobile game UI. And I was like, dude, yeah, it does. Also, why is the screen, like, cut off weirdly like this? I don't know why I did that, but... yeah, the music completely...
I personally think that this remade version is way better than the original. King Alant's theme was amazingly recreated here, but it has a vastly different tone from the original.
The organ. So good. Oh man, here he comes. Babyface King Alant. Bro, who is that? That is not King Alant. What is that facial expression? Like, wait, hold on. Wait. Show the facial expression. Here we go. That is not the same guy. Like people have pointed this out. It's not like this is new to me, but just, bro, who is that? Like, hold on. Look at this. Wait. Look at that face.
But it has a vastly different tone from the original.
Look at that. That is a completely different guy from, like, Fallen King versus frail old man who... yeah, that's not the... bro, this does not look like... that's not... it's not it, man. That's...
holy shit. I honestly don't know which version I like better. Like, there's
so I do like this version of the song. I think it's cool, but this is the overarching problem. Just because it's cool doesn't mean that, like, again, the tonal difference could not be more apparent. Like, you listen to the original version, it's almost somber. It's just the organ. Here, they make it sound like this epic final battle. And, like, yeah, it is the culmination of your journey throughout Boletaria, essentially, right? But that's not at all what the tone was in the original game. And so for them to change it so drastically is just very weird to me. That doesn't mean it's bad. On its own, again, in a bubble, it's great. But just, like, when you compare it to the original, it's like, why is this so different from the original version? I don't get it.
They're both so damn good, but you see what I mean about the tone, right? Then there are themes like Phalanx and the Tower Knight, which are so different that they're almost unrecognizable.
Oh, jeez.
Again, I don't think that any of the music in this remake is bad on its own. It's just that some of these remade tracks seem to have strayed away a little too much from their original versions for my personal taste. Even though
Okay.
overall I
All
do
right.
think
Yeah, that's still a base take, I think. And I still agree with that. I just don't think I at the time I think I let too much of this stuff slide, and there's also a lot of stuff I didn't know about. Like I don't even talk about like the architecture or the enemy design differences, or like the fact that Boletaria is overgrown, probably because at the time I didn't care and I just thought it looked cool, and I was just, swept up in the hype of this game being remade. But in reality, like, no, those details matter. Like it's not every single detail in a game like this matters. And for me to just overlook those things and not talk about them or just not even notice them, um, yeah, not great. So I definitely I don't like that, but I do at least agree that, like, yeah, the music I think in a bubble is good, but just there's such a big tonal difference that it's just like it just doesn't yeah, it's not even the same.
these remade tracks, I think that it would be really cool if Bluepoint released an original soundtrack swap as either an option or as DLC for a couple of bucks. Kind of like how the Resident Evil 2 remake did. Alright, now that those little.
Yeah, an original soundtrack swap, which, bruh, I think literally when I showed the DLC thing earlier in the video, it said original soundtrack was in there. So I don't know. I guess I must have missed that little detail. But I actually don't know if you can even play the game with the original soundtrack. I think it just gives you the option to listen to it, which is like, that's real nice. But the thing is, even if you were to play through the remake with the original soundtrack, it wouldn't work as well because of the lighting differences and the enemy design differences that also very much affect the tone. And just it would, I think it would help, but it just would feel weird without having the original art style and visuals.
Nitpicks are out of the way, I can finally start gushing about this game. Guys, this game is
Bro,
truly a must-buy for the PS5.
why
At
am
the
I
moment,
acting like this is like the best thing ever, dude? I have this Final Fantasy VII music coming out. Come on, man. It's not that. It was not. Dude, you God.
entire system.
Oh my god.
Have I played a game that looks this good graphically? Bluepoint.
I'm really hamming it up. Jeez.
This game.
Let me. Oh god. I just have to. All right. Just gotta watch the cringe.
Guys, this game is truly a must-buy for the PS5.
No, it's not.
At the moment,
It's good, but
killer app of
just
the entire
play the
system.
PS3 version.
Never in my life have I played a game that looks this good graphically. Bluepoint truly are the gods of remakes, as they added so much life to this already amazing game. The character creator is not only the best it has ever been in a Souls game, but is actually one of the best that I've ever seen.
It's a. I mean, it's a decent character creator, and there's a lot to unpack there. Yes, the game graphically, as I mentioned in the intro to this video, like the remake, yeah, incredible. I mean, visually and technically, my god, it's still, I think it's like still one of the best looking games. The faces, though, that's the one area, like the characters' faces, I like that they're animated, but their faces look weird. I don't know what it is about the way that the characters' faces look in this game. Like, even not just like look at this guy on the right, his face just, I don't know, something about it. Something about it is just really throwing me off and just looks like too clean. You look at like Capcom games, like the character faces in those games, they look cool. They look cool. They look interesting. They don't look like, this guy looks like he has googly eyes or something. And I think a lot of the characters have that weird quality about them in this remake. I don't know exactly why that is. I'm trying to figure it out, but yeah, geez, man, I was really glazing this. Oh my god. Like, it's look, again, if you've never in a bubble, it's good, but it's a completely different experience than what the original game provides. tonally, artistically, Bluepoint did not understand certain things. They changed things that they shouldn't have changed. The music, some character designs, all of which were very intentional in their purpose. And, for them to do that and then tout this as being a faithful remake is not really, it's not really right. It's kind of disingenuous, but okay, let's see what else Past Me had to say.
Facial animations now, and yes, believe it or not, in all of the previous Souls games, when a character would talk, you would just hear them and their mouth wouldn't move. Not only are these facial animations...
Dude, I don't want to see my guy's eyes through the helmet. That's so, it's lame.
They are best in class. There's also a photo mode and visual filters you can play the game with, and you can also create your own visual filters too. 4K
you can
60 FPS is also so buttery smooth, and seeing this game on a video truly doesn't do the graphics justice.
I mean, yeah, the 4K 60 FPS is really nice. There's no denying that. And also, what did I say? I didn't know you could create your own visual filters, though. That's interesting. By the way, speaking of those visual filters, the fact that they have a filter in here that's called original or something, where it makes the colors more muted, is literally proof that all the lighting stuff was just a deliberate choice, that they weren't trying to be faithful to the original lighting and tone. So yeah, really just not great.
Look at this. Do I need to say more? The attention to detail in this remake is just absolutely insane. Just look at the way the dust comes off of this elevator in Stonefang Mine after you activate it. The flashes of lightning in the Tower of Latria.
Okay, so attention to detail. That's a great phrase, and I'm using it. So I'm not wrong. They did. There is a lot of attention to detail here in this remake. However, they should have put that attention on making it faithful to the original and making the tone feel as it did in the original, and the enemy designs be updated graphically, but the designs are still the same. You look at the Fat Official. People always bring up that example in the videos I watch. Chopper brings it up in his video. The design is completely different. In the remake, he's just this grotesque. They're just these grotesque fat guys that have boils all over their body, and their facial expression is not fixed. They have different facial expressions, whereas in the original game, they were still fat. Silhouette was kind of similar, but the face was metallic looking, and it was always stuck in this grimace, and you weren't really sure if that was their face or if that was some kind of a mask that they were wearing, and it didn't matter what they were doing. They always had the same creepy grimace on their face. That's a really good example. It's why did they change that design? Why did they change the statue of King Duran's in King Duran's mausoleum from being this barbarian warrior with this flowing hair to just being a generic knight statue? Why did they change the exterior of that mausoleum to be gothic, have all these gothic spires, it's out of Bloodborne or something? That's not. They needed more attention in those spaces, and to an extent, I think with some of those decisions they knew, and they just changed it anyways because they could, and they weren't really. Again, it's just very disrespectful of the original artistic vision. And when you're remaking a game, sure, you can put your own spin on some things, and you can do some things, but it's too much. It's too far to completely change designs like that.
Or the crackle of the spells as they leave your wand. Those are just a few examples, and I could go on about how gorgeous this game is, but just looking at the game says it all. In terms of gameplay, the game is exactly as you remember it. Bluepoint only really added in a few new items, like the rest of the official set and the Blue Eye Knight set. They also added in quality of life features. While item burden is still in the game, you no longer have to return to the Nexus to store stuff. There's simply an option to send items to storage directly from your inventory, omnidirectional rolling, the password system for online, and an entire server browser for online as well. And after defeating your first archdemon, you no longer have to warp back to the Nexus every time you want to go between the archstones. These quality of life features are amazing. I'm probably forgetting some. As I said before, the gameplay is exactly how you remember it. The world tendency and the character tendency features are back in full force. Spells are used just as fast as you remember. The Firestorm spell is just as OP as ever. And best of all, the AI in this remake is exactly the same as it was back in 09. I'm not kidding. Bluepoint literally used the code from the original game for all of the AI, and while some people may not like this decision, I love it. It's so charming and nostalgic to see the enemies do stupid things like fall to their deaths, or just seeing certain bosses act all janky. Look at Flame Lurker just jankily moving around the arena. It's also great because if you played the original game, you'll still have your muscle memory, and for newcomers, they get to fight all of the enemies and bosses exactly as we did in the original. Everything that
So, okay, yeah, I definitely agree. Like, as I mentioned earlier, yes, the quality of life stuff is really nice. I actually forgot about one of those. I completely forgot that in the original game, you had to warp back to the Nexus every single time. That's like Bloodborne. In Bloodborne, you have to go back to the Hunter's Dream every single time. You can't just, like, go between the lanterns, or in Demon Souls' case, the Archstones freely, which is a bit annoying. And yeah, all those quality of life changes are really nice in the remake. And you know, I do think it's really cool that they literally just kept the exact same enemy AI. I do think it's really funny. And you know, so again, like, it's not like the remake is some like horrible abomination. It's just that it just misses the mark, and it just feels different from the original. It just does not, like, when you're trying to make a faithful remake, you need to make sure that it feels the same tonally, artistically, from a gameplay standpoint. You know, you can make little tweaks to make things, to like kind of push things a little further, or to enhance things or add quality of life, which again, quality of life stuff they did here, great. But when you're completely changing the tone and the artistic direction, that's too much. It's too far if you want to do a faithful remake. It's just not, just doesn't work. It just feels off.
I said in my video about why Demon Souls is so special still holds true in this remake. The gameplay, the world, the characters, the lore, literally everything that I said and more. The story is exactly the same, and all of the cutscenes have been masterfully recreated. The couple of cutscenes early on that are made mostly of illustrations look amazing and are subtly animated. Take a look at this part of the cutscene after creating a new character. You can see these demons absorbing the souls of the humans.
That does look really cool, but
most,
it's
if not all of the
it's too vibrant.
actors to reprise their roles. The amount of options that Bluepoint
Bro,
gives
this
us
UI is so
probably the
ugly.
closest thing that a console game has ever had to PC games options. As
All the
I said
options are
earlier,
nice.
Server browser for online play. You can choose between cinematic mode, which is 30 FPS at a native 4K with ray tracing, or a performance mode with 60 FPS and a dynamic 4K. I personally prefer performance because, come on, 60 FPS is so much better than 30. Filters for the game, you can turn off your HUD, hide your character's helmet, turn on or turn off film grain.
That's cool.
Much more.
That's cool stuff.
While this next thing is more of a PS5 thing as a whole, the haptic feedback in the controller is absolutely mental. Metal striking flesh has a different feeling than metal striking metal.
That part is really cool.
Crackle of a spell as you cast it, and even after it hits an enemy. If you light your sword on fire, you can feel the fire reverberating off the sword as you move it around or swing it. And
that stuff is really cool. And you know, to their credit, there have not been, like, I feel like Demon Souls, Astro's Playroom, and obviously Astrobot, which is a lot more recent than Astro's Playroom, which was just like a tech demo essentially. They're really, like, not enough games take advantage of the PS5's haptic feedback in the controller. Like, I wish more games did. Like, I started playing Death Stranding 2 last night, and I noticed it does some stuff with that I really like. But yeah, Demon Souls was really good about that on PS5 with just having the haptic feedback. I thought that was really cool.
Relations through the haptics in the controller. It's insane. It's one of those things where Explaining it doesn't really do it justice, you just have to experience it for yourself. The haptics in the controller plus the 3D audio add a whole new layer of immersion that was previously impossible. Like I said,
they add a whole new layer of immersion, but because the tone is completely different, you're getting a completely different experience than the original. It's unfortunate, you know. I really wish that they would just re-release the original game and let us experience that on just a port on modern hardware, you know, with, I don't know, maybe 60 FPS, but that would, depending on how they did animations and stuff, that might not work if like the character animations are tied to frame rate, which they might be, I don't know. But just, yeah, that'd be great. I wish they'd re-release the original game. But that's probably not going to happen.
This remake is everything that made the original so special and more. Bluepoint have really killed it with this game and truly cemented themselves as the gods of remakes, as this is one of the most faithful remakes that I've ever played. I can't wait to see what Bluepoint does next, and as you can tell, I love this game. A remake should set out to be faithful to the original and recreate everything that people loved the game for in the first place while also enhancing those aspects, and Demon's Souls for the PS5 is one of those remakes.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It is. It tries. It's not awful. It's not the worst. But with the artistic stuff and tone, it just isn't. And even some of those other games I showed, like, look at this. Like, if FF7. Here's the thing with FF7. They had the original team working, like a lot of the original members of the team who made OG FF7 are part of the remake project. And I mean, obviously, like, the graphical leap is so vastly different that, like, of course it's gonna, you know, feel incredibly different than the original game. Just so much, everything is different. Like, that's like a complete overhaul. Whereas Demon's Souls, like, no, the gameplay is the exact same, like the perspective is the exact same. But like, because Bluepoint did not work on the original Demon's Souls, like, and they just didn't really take enough care to preserve the tone of the original, and you know, they deliberately changed some of those designs. Like, it's not a perfect remake. It's just not. It's fine, it's decent, but it's not perfect. And even RE2, where I showed that a glimpse of RE2 somewhere. I'm gonna mute myself here. RE2 is a fantastic remake, but even that has some problems about it. But even that, I think there were some original team members working on that, maybe. I'm actually not sure about that one, but I mean, it was same company, at the very least, who did it. But yeah, Demon's Souls is not a perfect remake. Let's unmute this. What else do I say in this? Man, yeah, I definitely agree with some little bits and pieces of stuff in here, but there's a lot that I'm like, dude, you were just too caught up in the hype, and you just did not. I clearly did not pay enough attention to the original game and like the tonal differences, or maybe I just didn't want to admit it to myself at the time. You know, especially with, like, I mean, Bluepoint. That's something I gotta look in. I feel like I gotta look into now too. I feel like with Shadow of the Colossus remake, you don't hear this type of discourse about it. Like, the most you hear is that like the lighting looked a bit more interesting in the original game, but like, that's it. Everything else is better. Like, they didn't really change designs or anything like that. Like, they were, from my understanding, it seems like they were much more faithful with Shadow of the Colossus. So I'm like, I don't know what happened here. Like, I don't, I mean, if that's not the case, like, let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious about that. But, yeah, that was my reaction to this. Yeah, no, I disagree with a lot of what I said in this, but I also agree with some of it to an extent, like the quality of life stuff being good and some of the additional little features. But honestly, I'm gonna replay the original game on my PS3 out of respect, because, gosh damn, I only ever did like that one playthrough of the original, and I want to re-experience that game proper, not the remake that has all these tonal issues and you know, just took all these artistic liberties with something that was so meticulously crafted with intention in the first place. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video, and I will see you all in the next video on this channel. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the Demon's Souls remake, and just this kind of whole conversation. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.